This is the Big O Show. This is the Big O Show.
All right. How you feeling, baby? You feeling good?
Doing great. Oh, how are you?
Excellent, man. Excellent. I told a story before you came on because it's funny. I got friends of mine that they're hardcore Canes or Dolphins or Heat fans or whatever. So when something happens, for them, it becomes like, magnified, right? So I get a call from my buddy and, oh, dude, Restrepo ran a 4.8 and I thought he had a really good chance for the second or third round. And I kind of like, I as I told everybody, I kind of like put the phone off and I kind of like looked at the phone weird and looked at him like, yo, dude, like he was always a third day guy. I don't know why you were thinking that high. And so I don't know where you were thinking, by the way, Manny. I love the kid and his toughness and all that, but I explained to him that you have to think the next level, and he's going to be a back end receiver and a back end receiver, a back end running back, a back end tight end. You got to be a special team standout. And that's not something that he does. And so he's not a great flyer or gunner or anything like that. He's not a great returner or anything like that. So it's going to be even tougher on him at the next level because unless you're the one or two or three that you're like a really special receiver that they can say, okay, fine. But if you're going to be a 4, 5, or 6 or 7 on a roster, well, you're going to need to have some special team skills. And that's where I think is going to hurt him also at the next level too, finding a spot for him because they can only activate 45. And that's where the math and the football side of it affects Restrepo. So for you, when you see the 4.8 and everything, and you think about all the things I thought of, your thoughts on all of that?
No, I agree with you. I think in terms of him being a guy that's gonna impress you with the gun, right, and the clock and all that, that's not gonna be there for him. He's size wise, he's a production guy. He's a guy that you take because you believe in him and you think he can be a good slot receiver. But he is a day 3 safe pick for a team, right? He's that receiver that somebody takes in the 5th or 6th round and says, man, this is one of those guys I think that can be productive for us on third downs and move the chains and be a good little slot guy. And I think, here I was looking this up before I jumped on the show, because I want to put this all in perspective for people who are Miami fans and who, like you say, call and say, man, I thought he was a day 2, day 3 guy. So I looked this up. I looked up the NFL draft, and this is just ACC teams, okay, since 2018. All right. Miami's had 23 players drafted since 2018. How many of them were first or second day guys?
Oh, not a lot lately. Yeah. Not a lot, actually, unfortunately.
4.
Yeah.
4 guys. Cam Kitchens, Tyreek Stevenson, Jalen Phillips, and Gregory Rousseau. That's it. 2 first rounders and a second and a third rounder. That's it.
And Cam Kitchens, by the way, had a great year, dude.
Oh, he did. He did. But again, the draft is not something Miami has thrived in. And I will tell you that I think most NFL scouts go down there and they still think, well, there's not a lot of guys here that are going to be,
right,
Pro Bowlers. And so while this class.
This is the year where it started now to build again, actually.
Yeah. But I still think when you look at this group, there's probably only 2 first or second day guys.
Yeah,
Cam Ward,
the tight end and the quarterback. Yeah.
Yeah.
Jalen Rivers, probably a third rounder. Yeah.
You think so? Okay.
Why you think even lower?
I just think it's going to it's a day 3. It's probably a 4th round pick.
Okay.
But that's only because what teams need and where he's slotted right now. He's the number 10 interior offensive lineman. Teams, it depends on what teams need, right? Do they need a tackle? Do they need a guard? I think
that's what I think. Also, his versatility might help him.
That might help him get in there. You might be right, but again, compare that to everybody else in the ACC where Miami has been. Right?
Yeah.
Clemson, 35 picks since 2018. That's 12 more players, 10 first rounders.
Yeah.
19 of them first or second day picks. They've been the class of the ACC. So Miami, we talk about the progress of the program. They're not going to get to where you want them to go until at least they're hitting Clemson levels, right? Am I right or wrong?
Right, right. No, for sure. They gotta get back to where like, that's why I'm saying that this is the year where I think Mario hopefully starts to build on this,
Mhm.
because this is kind of their best class in a while for the draft purposes, obviously, especially with Cam Ward being, number 1 or whatever it is. I think for sure he's number 1. The way everybody was there yesterday, it looked like it.
Right.
Plus,
The
I
Titans
added
grass.
this before you came on. Reggie McKenzie left
Hmm.
Miami for Tennessee. It's his hometown.
Hmm.
Plus, first question, "Hey, Reggie, you were there all year. What'd you think of Cam?" So they also got a guy that was in the backyard watching Cam all year long,
Right.
and as Sean just said, in the same stadium. So it's kind of interesting how Reggie chose to go back to his hometown, kind of he's eyeing more on the retirement side and relaxing and all that. But at the same time, he's going to the place that's actually going to draft Cam Ward, and he was here watching him the whole time. So it's kind of
Well,
interesting.
Well, Quandre Diggs, who is very, very close to the Ward family, he's a three-time Pro Bowler, a guy who obviously is from the state of Texas, grew up with him. Their parents are close. He was just with the Titans last year. He was here for the draft, not for the draft, for the camp yesterday for the combine that Miami did for the NFL scouts. And I'm sure the Titans called him and said, "Hey, dude, is this guy for real?" To get his advice on it. And ultimately, I think why Cam Ward is going number 1 overall is his personality. I think it's not just his arm. I think it's the fact that he is an overachiever, a no-star guy, and I think that commands respect in the locker room. You were around it in the NFL, right? The guys who basically weren't very highly touted but earned everything, like they get the respect of the locker room, and I think that's important in an NFL locker room.
Yeah, I think Arroyo, he wasn't able to go full out on the workout, but I think his talent, what you watched on film, if you're an NFL team, you're like, that's an NFL tight end. So
There's
I
no
don't
doubt.
think the Arroyo thing again, whereas the Restrepo thing might hurt him, probably will hurt him. I would go completely opposite on the tight end. I think he proved everything on the field with a real quarterback. I think he's a lock for the second round.
No doubt. Yeah, I think he's probably the third or fourth tight end taken in the draft, and somebody, he's a guy who I think makes an NFL roster and probably makes a couple Pro Bowls. He has that kind of ability and talent. He just has to stay healthy. He got hurt early in his career at Miami. Took him a while to sort of overcome that. But you saw what a full healthy season was like for Elijah Royal, and he was one of the best tight ends in college football. So he will thrive at the next level. Those are the two guys. I mean, there's probably going to be 8 or 9 Hurricanes drafted, which they haven't had that since 2017.
Yeah, that's what I'm
Um,
saying. It's a
you
good
know,
it's good for them. This is a nice foundation to hopefully start turning it around and being a team that has a lot of draftable players.
but do those numbers stun you though? Oh, when I tell you how many draft picks and how many of them are first or second. I mean, for the average Miami fan who always says, "Oh, but they've got oodles of talent. Look at all the recruiting classes."
Yeah,
Well,
but
here's a number for you. You know who's had the same number or close to the same number of draft picks? Pittsburgh, the University of Pittsburgh, which won the ACC. They've had 22 draft picks. 5 of them were first or second day picks. So they're basically recruiting and producing talent at a Pittsburgh type level.
yeah. And if you've watched and followed the team, that's kind of what's gone on, unfortunately.
Mhm.
You know what I'm
Well,
saying?
I'm just saying Miami fans like to lie to themselves a lot. Like you and I
Yeah,
are more realists. And it's
yes.
like I gotta throw these numbers and these stats out at them to say, no, dude, this is what reality is. This is what your school has been doing.
Yeah, we live off the past.
Yeah.
The Dolphins have been doing that for a while, living off the past, and that's unfortunate. That's why I'm hoping that this class is kind of the turnaround. Now, out of the guys that are in that third day,
Hmm.
like let's say a Jacoby George or somebody like that, who do you think is going to surprise? And maybe they're going to be better than their third day, you know, uh,
Probably Damian Martinez, the running back.
I love him for the Dolphins, bro. Take him in
I
the 4th round or something. Damn, that would be awesome.
This is a super loaded draft for running backs. And I think he's the kind of guy who gets taken in the 4th or 5th round because there's so many guys that are at that position. and he ends up being like a breakout, like, wow, you know, especially when it comes to fantasy. I've been doing that for so many years. Like, you're like, you know, you all of a sudden you're like, wait a minute, I remember that guy. Wow, he's leading the team in rushing. Like, it's just, they come out of nowhere. And I think that's what Damian Martinez is going to be. I think like you said earlier, Jalen Rivers, whether or not he's a late, you know, third round or fourth round guy, I think he's an NFL guy who, like you said, because of his versatility. You know, I don't know about the rest of the guys. Like Mawanoa, the linebacker, he's probably going to get drafted because he's been productive in college, but he's not fast and he's not good in coverage.
Right.
You know, Simeon Barrow, really strong defensive lineman, all ACC first team, but small, right? Not a lot of size on him physically.
And by the way, and going back to Mawanoa, it's a passing league, and it's really tough. Where, you know, when there was more running, you could carry a 2-down linebacker.
Right.
Carrying 2-down linebackers in the NFL is really tough. It limits you, man. And if the guy can't cover, it's tough, man. It's tough. So yeah, I agree with Mawanoa. That's going to be a really difficult situation for him.
Borregales, the kicker, might be around for a while. He's a really good kicker, right? A guy. I mean, his brother won the Gross Award. Wasn't able to sort of stick with an NFL team, but I think Andy's got a longer track record. I think NFL teams are going to give him a chance. He'll be a guy that'll go on day 3 probably and be productive for an NFL team.
Yeah. Yeah. So yeah, Martinez, I think, is one that that definitely would be intriguing, and I hope that the Dolphins are the team that take him, because they kind of need a big play guy to kind of help out. What are you working on in the Athletics so folks can check you out, my friend?
Yeah, well, it is a busy time of year for recruiting because kids are taking official visits soon, and they're taking all these spring visits. So there's a lot of guys that are still uncommitted. I just looked through the list. I think only four of the top 12 in the 2026 recruiting cycle are committed in the state of Florida. So there's a lot of recruiting battles that are going to take place now from April to June, and people will win and lose. And so I'll have an article on that the most intriguing sort of high school recruits that are out there for the 2026 class. We all know these kids decide and basically get paid early, right, before they end up actually on campus. So that'll play out here over the next few months. That'll preview that. And then I'm going to do a mailbag, Miami Hurricanes mailbag, which I was in the middle of answering when I jumped on the show with you. That'll be coming out later this week. People asking me just plenty of questions about what's going on at Green Tree with the team and so forth.
All right, good shit. Follow him on Twitter at Manny_Navarro. Catch his work there at The Athletic. Better yet, subscribe. And of course, come on out here to Caneswear, proud sponsor of this segment, 2655 South University Drive in Davie. Use our code BIG010. You will get 10% off. They got anything and everything practically with a Canes logo on it. Miami Dolphins gear, Miami Heat gear, Miami Marlins, InterMiami, Fort Lauderdale United coming and everything. They're adding that to it. So adding all of the local pro teams. So check it out. And you can go online at caneswear.com. You'll get free shipping when you order over $99. Jeff is ready to get that shipped out right away. So when you put in that order, they see it and they fill that shipping out right away, and it's off and running and headed to your place. So check it out. Go to caneswear.com. Manny, we will catch up on Friday, my friend. Thank you.
All right, brother. Take care.
Got it.
This is the Big O Show. This is the Big O Show.